Insider information.
Insider information.
It really is.
Hey, it sounds like me.
Well, I'm glad you're here, Alex. Let's talk.
Because I'm that kind of person.
You are that kind of person.
Yes.
I guess I'm asking the wrong person.
Yes, I do. All right, welcome to another episode of the WMAKP, episode 14. By the time of this recording, it is 14.
Yeah, oh my
It is
Lord.
14. Today's topic is filling that emotional bank.
Like bank with money?
Bank with money. No, no. Everybody.
That always sounds good. bank full of money.
But your emotional bank, if I remember correctly, of course I'm not an expert in this, but is the fact that everybody has something that needs to be looked at, or something.
Some emotional need that needs to be
Thank you.
filled.
Thank you. There's the words.
Like to me, it means, everybody's a person. Everybody's got these things, emotionally.
A need that needs to be met.
Mentally, that needs to be met. Yeah.
And of course, as you guys can tell, or as the video audience can tell, but the audio listeners can't see, is that we have back Sensei Brian Morrow here with us.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me back.
I think it's the orange one is the clap track.
Is it?
No. Yeah. Click it. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll see in the track. I guess we'll see.
One of them's the clap
find out.
track. Yeah.
One of them's a clap
I
track,
mean,
the other
we
one's a
have-
laughing track.
We have
I don't remember.
headphones right there.
Yeah.
Trace could have
Oh, well.
Whatever.
It's all good. Don't worry
So
about it.
either we
Hopefully
have
that's
somebody
it.
laughing at you sitting there, or somebody
Yeah.
clapping for you.
Either one is
One
fine
of
by
the
me.
two. One of the two. So, again, for the people that are new here or anything, can you tell a little bit about yourself, please?
Oh, well, I'm 53 years old here next month.
I thought you were turning 60.
Yeah, well, I think I gotta get back to telling everybody I'm turning
yeah.
60. That way I can cope with it whenever it happens. So I've been doing karate since I was 10, 11 years old, and always wanted to be a karate instructor since I took my first class. Came home surprised and excited that I knew what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And lo and behold, Lord has a way of making things work out, and whether you mean to or not, I guess. And
here we are, 23, 24?
20 something.
28.
28? Oh, man.
Well, we've had the dojo for 28 years. I've been involved in karate since I was 10, so we're looking at 40 years.
Well, the dojo, the art dojo, the Clarkson dojo has been here since 1998.
Yeah.
So
then,
whatever
of course-
it's 2022 right now.
Yep.
So
Woo.
Started teaching karate at the Lewiston Boys and Girls Club in 1994.
Jeez.
Um,
Almost getting to 30 years here soon.
So, yeah. So we're gonna be hitting the 30-year mark in celebrating the beginning of the program here in the Valley by not only myself but continuing on with you guys.
yeah, no, I'm just really excited about that part, definitely. So can you, because you have a master's in psychology,
I have a master's in
a
education.
master's in education,
and
sorry.
emphasis in guidance counseling.
Okay.
Counseling, and required to take a lot of psychology courses, and also pursuing a clinical license required that as well, and well over 4,000 hours of internship time. So yeah, just that was tough in and of itself. And then of course, getting up to 6th degree black belt in Jundokan International.
Last summer.
Last summer.
Last summer.
and
Yes,
Yeah.
very exciting.
So I don't say these things to impress anybody. I just say these things to press upon everyone that, life, if you allow it to keep going, you have goals that you can continue to pursue. But I didn't start karate to pursue those goals. I didn't even get into karate to really pursue all of that. I did it because I just loved doing it.
There you go. That's how it always starts.
That's how a hobby turns into a job.
There you go. There you go. Well, not a job, a career.
A career, yeah.
Very different.
Yeah.
And a lifestyle.
And a lifestyle.
Definitely.
Yes.
So, can you tell us, from your expertise, define what an emotional bank is for us?
Well, one thing I'm really excited about that you guys picked this topic to run with on a podcast, and it should be used for our instructor program, because it really
Insider information.
Inside information.
it really is an exciting topic to pursue, not just karate wise, but in a leadership position wise, in a family position wise, because you can't give a whole lot to others if your own emotional bank account isn't fully deposited in. You can't invest in another person's relationship unless you fill their emotional bank account. And you can't have healthy relationships in the workplace or at home if everybody's emotional bank accounts are depleted.
So, starting off, like, how can you tell where someone's at in their emotional bank?
See,
That's-
that's a great. See,
that's
that's
a good
why
place
you're
to start
good for this.
Because
Not everybody would have thought of that.
because we
question.
have this word here,
Mhm.
and to someone that has no idea what it means, it just means, oh, like I said, a bank account with money, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
Is it
but I
just
mean,
that,
it's also
or is there a little bit more to it too that's important to understand?
Well, the first part is it's a metaphor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
of
yeah,
course, of
It's
yeah.
a
course.
metaphor
Yeah.
for making sure that you have things to go back to and withdraw from. And so a bank account's the same thing. If you don't have any money in your bank account, there's no paying the bills. There's no going on vacation. There's no being responsible. There's no helping others out. There's no philanthropy. There's no nothing without a full, capable, and responsible bank account.
hmm and just same idea with the emotional, right?
Mhm.
It's you put a deposit down, right? You put some effort into it, right? Into like a
so
person,
does
I
there have to
guess.
be personal effort to fill that up, or is it the people around you that helps fill that up?
Well,
Maybe a little
okay,
bit of both.
using the metaphor still, you have to go out and work and make money, but
Right.
there are also people that give gifts that you can deposit, like your birthday money or your graduation money,
Mm.
right? And then there are other things where you may find yourself doing extra on top of your job to make a little extra money to put into your bank account. So how do you know if your bank account, your emotional bank account's depleted? Well, the first one is your distress tolerance. You can't handle too much. You find yourself being overly stressed easily when normal people in their normal environment would not have been too stressed out about it. But now all of a sudden you're finding yourself, what? That little stressor made me go over the top emotionally, physically, psychologically. Oh boy, okay, now I know my emotional bank account has been depleted.
So, so going back to the emotional bank and how we ourselves have to find ways to fill it up. Now, everybody is different, right? That's just how humans are. Everybody is different, but we also have similarities.
Oh, there's some
So,
universal ones,
Yeah.
yeah.
So now, how do you recommend for someone personally to fill up their own emotional bank? Like, I know everybody's different. Like for me, maybe it's working out or being able to teach kids really and have fun with them, right? That's for me personal, or hanging out with friends, going to movies, things like that. But is there maybe some universal ones where people can try out
Relevant.
first, then go off and branch on their own?
Well, I think first, just like you said, you have universal ones, and they're all lumped into a category called positive behavioral activities,
Mm-hmm.
PBAs, for short. There's a lot of acronyms in lots of different expert fields, but psychology is no exception. So a PBA, positive behavioral activity, number one, yeah, your health, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to take care of your health. That's exercise, that's activities, that's things that keep you moving, walking the dog, all of that. And you're right, that's going to be different for everybody. But exercise, that's universal.
But so something physical that makes you move.
Anything
Okay.
that's physical, it's universal. Another one, of course, is what makes you happy. And now that one is universal, but what makes each person happy is not.
A little bit different, yep.
Mhm.
And I mean, we talk about all this, karate is a good mix of those, especially,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm. It's a beautiful
Especially for
mix.
all of us here,
Yeah.
we all love it,
Mhm.
and we get to, get that physical
Exercise,
quota there too.
Yep.
So there's combinations of things you can do. I know, like you said, working out for you,
Mhm.
that's a big one,
Mhm.
right? And it doesn't have to be just one thing too that fills your emotional bank.
No,
Right?
no,
You can
a
have
lot of things,
multiple different hobbies, multiple different things that can fill that too.
Oh yeah,
So,
definitely.
but things that make
Yeah.
people happy can be making putting together puzzles, designing things, drawing, coloring, painting.
Mm.
So it doesn't even have to be physical.
Mhm.
But for me, karate checks off a lot of those boxes.
Mhm.
It's physical. It makes me happy. I
Mhm.
get rewarded with helping others,
Mhm.
because that's another one that you can put in the positive behavioral activity list, is helping others.
Yeah, and
Mm.
that's what I wanted to move into next. That's a big part of what we
Mhm.
do, helping other people, either improve as a person, improve their karate, improve, I don't know, their teaching, like Trace with his instructors program, right? And this goes back to the thing of depositing into
Mhm.
somebody, depositing into their emotional
Yep.
bank. So what does that kind of look like to you, when you deposit?
Let's rephrase that real quick for someone in their household, right? Because we're not just talking about as educators, but also how can we try out let this information be to everyone where they can improve themselves
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So how do you think that? I mean, of course, everybody has their own ways, but how do you think someone can help a person, like a donation, like a gift, like a like birthday money? How do you
Well,
think they can help at home?
we're sort of doing it now.
Yeah.
We're talking,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and talking is a huge stress reducer.
Mm.
It is I think, one of the biggest ways you can invest in your own emotional bank account, is having a significant other, or a person in your life that you can confide in, talk to.
Mm.
But the important part is whoever you talk to can't judge you. They can't be critical of you. They can't be one of those kind of people that hold you to everything you say.
Mm.
You just get to talk. And what's really cool is the psychology behind that and this is where the monks come in and everybody else, where they chant.
Mm.
It stimulates the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is one of the longest nerves that connect the brain to the body.
Hmm.
And when you stimulate it, it runs down the back of your neck, but because of the vocal cords. And that's why people who don't realize that talking is actually self-soothing or calming, because of that. They don't understand
It's
that. And that's,
therapeutic, yeah.
but the other part of it too is just being able to hear your thoughts, to be able to speak your mind, to be able to process all the things that you're thinking about. Because for some of us, we might have 5 thoughts a second, while others might have 50 thoughts a second. That person needs to talk a lot more.
Hey, it sounds like me.
Well, I'm glad you're here, Alex. Let's talk.
So someone that's willing to just be a soundboard, pretty much. Someone that's able
Yeah.
to just listen. They don't.
Well, no, not just soundboard, because a
Okay.
soundboard doesn't give feedback.
Oh, but someone. Okay.
But it does have to be someone who gives feedback, but only when you're ready for it, because it's like, hey, I just need to. Am I thinking the right way? Am I doing
So-
okay?
so someone more to,
let me
like,
check in with you.
Confide in,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
More like someone, you can let your thoughts out and they'll give you a little bit of feedback, right?
Yeah,
So,
like mom, like dad.
yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
It's always cool when you can find that someone, because I have a great friend that him and I do that, or
Yeah.
you and me sometimes.
Yeah.
So if you could, finding that one person
It's
is just it
huge.
helps so much.
Yeah, and I mean, me and my girlfriend, we do that a lot.
There you
every-
go.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's something we had to work on though.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of the time it's
It is
not
work.
something that just comes.
Mhm.
Right.
It's built over years of trust. I think that's why we
Trust.
can do it.
Yeah.
And why I can do it with Sensei. It's all this years and years of trust and building this relationship, right? And that doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
That's something you have to work on. Something you learn from experience. If something didn't work out the way
Yeah.
you thought it would
So,
after doing
I
that,
guess the next big thing we
Yeah.
would have to go into is you can't really expect your emotional bank to be filled like
immediately,
fast,
yeah.
immediately,
Very
right?
true.
So
Yeah.
it takes time and
Just
trust.
sitting at the gas pump, pumping my car with gas. I'm going, hurry up already. I gotta go. It only comes out so fast. I'm
Yeah.
worrying about it. Is it going to make it fill up faster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I think.
What's the saying? Worry it's about the worry, it doesn't make it go away or something like that. Worrying about it doesn't make it go away. I'm trying to remember the saying.
Oh, yeah. there is
Oh,
that.
you know what I'm
one.
talking about though, right?
I can't
Yeah.
think of it.
Yeah, if the viewers know
I'm
that
sure,
one, please put in the
yeah.
comments so we
But,
figure it out too.
If you worry about something, stop worrying. It's not gonna go
Yeah.
away, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And kind of that's a good way to think about things too.
Right.
Yeah. So
Tough not to though.
It
but
is very
it's a
tough.
skill.
Yeah,
It's a skill.
definitely.
all right. Back to the emotional bank. So like
Mm.
we've talked about investing into others'
Mhm.
emotional banks. What do you? I mean, are you expecting to get things back too? You know, like your emotional. You invest in
Right. So
somebody.
yeah, exactly.
Like
Yeah.
it's like investing in someone's
Okay. So
company,
me
right?
personally, when I teach karate, I don't expect things back,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially that.
We gotta.
But when it happens, though,
It feels great.
oh my God, it's the best thing in the world.
Just before Christmas, one of the students, we and John got a Christmas gift.
Yeah.
One of the
Oh,
best.
so
One of
happy.
one of the best feelings. I
And
think
then
of.
last Thursday, I actually had a parent come and talk to me and saying thank you. I'm just
That's
like,
awesome. Yeah. Yeah,
That is
and
awesome.
but like, do you feel like
should people expect things in return if they invest in someone like that?
It's because it's like investing in a company.
Yeah.
Would you relate?
Because
it to
I
in real
personally,
life?
if you're doing it out of your goodwill, you shouldn't expect
Yeah,
things.
no.
But I mean, should people expect? I guess
in
in return.
in a family situation.
I
let's
think that's a good one because if you do expect something back in return and you don't get it, then you're disappointed,
Mhm.
and that's not
Right.
healthy. I don't think you should ever expect anything back. If you're
Mhm.
going to do it, you do it because you wanted to.
Right.
And
Now-
it's just that healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, we're talking about the emotional bank account. Now, of course, if you're investing in your financial bank account, you're going to work. You better expect to get something back
yeah.
because you got bills to pay.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
But just in that situation,
Right.
especially, but I think even the reward, when you invest in, let's say, your kids or your student or somebody, right? Just seeing them grow as a person, just seeing them improve, even like in their attitude, their,
I think that's
mental
considered
health.
a reward
Yeah,
in itself, right?
yeah, that's very rewarding to watch, and
So what about this part then? So you're with a significant other,
okay,
right? You are, you're wanting to vent. You're just wanting to talk, right?
okay.
Should the significant other expect you to listen to them as well? Should there be that expectation?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Are you sure?
I say yes. I say yes. I mean, are you talking about the same time?
No, not the same time, but just
Okay.
at another time.
So both of us, we're
Yeah.
able to
So
talk to each other
exactly,
with our
what-
problems,
right.
basically. Yeah, I think that's a good idea and a good thing, right?
Ideally, yes. Ideally,
Doesn't always
it doesn't always happen,
right? But ideally, yes.
I mean, should you expect that, or should it just be one of those things where
I think it goes back to the point where you have to build up that trust
Mm.
again, because obviously, in the first 6 months of dating, probably that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to hear it through either friends or something like that. That's just how it is.
Mm.
But as your relationship grows, as your communication,
You would hope
grows.
so.
You would hope
You would
so.
hope so.
Yes.
You would hope so.
Yes.
So-
But
I think that's why a lot of relationships struggle, just based on what you just said.
Mm.
Alex.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
Because not everybody has that strength in being a good listener.
No. Yeah. It like I said, it's also a learned skill too.
Yeah.
And it's a learned skill.
So going back to being an educator with the emotional bank, as a teacher, as a counselor, maybe as a babysitter, as something that has to educate and has to work with kids, right? Should you focus on the emotional bank with them? Or is it something that you have to build a relation with before you can start focusing on that with them? Should it be, actually, let me rephrase that. Should it be a requirement for an educator to sort of work on the emotional bank with your students?
Well, think just really quick, who as educators in your guys' all three of your guys' lives, I'm just curious. This really is a good, honest question. What teacher do you remember the most? The one that invested in the relationship and rapport with you, or
Yeah.
the one that was distant and just stuck to
The one that was
curriculum?
very close.
The
in a
one
sense.
that tried worked with you
Yeah,
to improve.
right, yeah.
And I think same thing I guess goes for that question
Right.
then too.
And
Right?
so research shows that relationship development intervention is probably the number one form of intervention for behavioral management, for relationship
Mhm.
management, for communication. I mean, it's right now, in my opinion, I don't know if the research backs that up 100%, but I think it's number one.
Mhm.
So I know, I mean, this is like, we're really generalizing here. I feel really bad for generalizing.
Yeah.
But a school teacher, right, has to deal with, 60 kids, a high school teacher, because they have multiple classes throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
What they have usually 6-7 hours in a day, 6-7 classes, and 1 hour is usually a break, right? So they have to deal with 6 times 20 kids. We're dealing with like 120 kids,
Yeah.
right? Would it be ideal for that high school teacher, for instance, to do that? Or should they be talking to the class as a whole and then trying to fill everybody's emotional bank just like a drip at a time?
So for me, when you're talking about a whole class, right, bond with the whole class first, right, and then work on the students, right? Once you gain the respect of all the students, because when you walk into, say you're back in high school,
But okay,
You
yeah,
walk-
exactly. So
walk
back
into-
in high school, I didn't necessarily bond with the teacher, but because he was talking to the whole class on a soapbox and did real world things, I connected with that without him having to.
exactly.
Right. So I was just thinking.
That's what I'm going with.
Right.
If you were to walk into class, do you have any respect for the teacher when you first walked in as a high school student?
Yes. Because I'm that kind of person.
You are that kind of person.
Yes.
I guess I'm asking the wrong person.
Yes, I do. Because I understand authority and hierarchy.
Yeah, I guess I'm asking the wrong person. Yeah, but yes, well, some kids when they walk into class,
True.
they don't have that respect for the teacher. You know,
True.
they don't know who they are. They are just like, oh, I heard bad things about this guy. Blah blah blah. This that. Right. Once you connect with the whole class, then you can start to understand. Oh, maybe I need to talk to this kid a little bit more rather than this kid. You know, you'd probably be someone that the teacher talked to a little bit less because you already understand that authority and respect type thing, and you're already connecting a little bit with that teacher, right? I would say if a student came into the class, right, especially for me, if this is students, somebody that's very, very distant, somebody that's very, very quiet, doesn't really respect what we're doing, you know, that kid might be somebody I invest a tad bit more into, seeing if I can change
Really?
him a little bit. And if that doesn't work, you know,
See,
keep going.
that's my question,
Keep
though.
going.
That's what
Keep
you
going.
think. But what about other high school teachers or teachers in general that have a difficulty connecting with that student? Should they try to help that kid with the emotional bank? Should they help them? Because they have another 119 other students that they have to work with. I'm just
I think what you just talked about, both of you, is the exact challenge that any leader has with their
Right.
group, which is to connect with everybody individually while you manage the entire group.
Yeah.
And isn't that sort of what makes and separates a good leader, a good teacher,
Yeah.
a good, role model for whatever group you're involved in? Because that is difficult to do
Mhm.
what you guys just described.
Yep.
it is hard because we do it all the time. We do it every day.
We try it. Yeah,
we do it every day.
Yeah.
But I like what Alex said when he said, well, at first we connect with the group
Right.
and then we connect with them individually, if
Yeah.
you can.
Right.
Because especially right as you described as a teacher setting, right?
Because what I'm asking, because you guys aren't even answering the question
Oh,
yet.
we're not.
No, you're not even
Oops.
answering the question.
Oops.
I'm saying, I'm asking if, as an educator, right? Because I know if you want to be a good educator, a teacher, babysitter, whatever it is, you should fill their emotional bank. Try to. You should connect with them, right?
Yes.
That should be a standard.
That's a given.
But is it a requirement? Should they? Is it morally, ethically? Do they have to?
See, you're getting into the gray area there.
Because why I'm asking this, is because I'm guessing some people out there have been teaching for 5 years and they're having a hard time.
Mhm.
Why don't they listen to me? Why aren't they doing this? But it's also the point to the fact that maybe as the teacher, they aren't filling their own emotional bank because something else is going on,
Mhm.
right? So should they? Because you said this at the very beginning of the episode. If your emotional tank is depleted, you can't feel anybody else's.
No.
So that's where the gray line is that in order to become a good educator, you need to know how to fill your own emotional bank to fill other emotional
Mhm.
banks. It's an awkward cycle. So morally, ethically, even if they don't have, a good fill on their emotional bank, should they go out as the teacher and try to fill other people's?
See,
I don't want to listen to you yet.
Yeah,
I
no,
want to listen to
let's-
I wanna listen
you
to
talk
him.
first.
I was interested in hearing your because what you described, Jonathan, occurs all the time.
Right?
And
So-
people do try to fill other people's emotional bank accounts with theirs depleted, and they're not successful.
yeah.
So,
I mean, morally or ethically, yes.
yeah, right?
I think you should, but with your own
But you have to deal with your own
yeah,
self first.
Yeah. You can't be a good teacher, leader, anything if you don't push yourself to be, I would say healthy. I guess I would call a full emotional break healthy.
It's such a weird
yeah.
cycle.
It's something you have to figure out. It's that gray area.
So okay, we go back to this, right? We go. Oh wait, Trace has something to say, but let me say this real
Trace
quick.
does.
Let me say this
can't
real
wait to hear
quick.
this.
Make sure you
So,
unmute yourself too.
so if you're trying to, because you always have to start with yourself. I always like to think to the fact that you have to start with yourself.
Yes.
You really do. It's about self-care first.
All right, just like a plane going down, and you got the oxygen mask.
Exactly.
coming
Right.
down,
Exactly.
You
You
got
have
to put yours on.
You have to
first
care
before
about
you-
yourself.
Yep. before you put it on
And
your
then you
child.
can start caring about other people. But starting that first part about caring yourself, I think, is the hardest part.
Mhm.
In order to do that, you, as Sensei said at the very beginning, is physical health, mental health, and something that you love doing. That's part of mental health. So, it's
Yeah.
just a weird cycle. Trace, please go ahead. I think you have something to say.
Yeah. So two things kind of go over. One, well, I would say that like a teacher that isn't able to, or isn't already feeling fulfilled enough to help fulfill other people, should be trying to help fulfill other people, right? I think that's kind of
So
self-damaging.
yeah, it's self-damaging.
Self-damaging. Okay,
right?
okay.
Okay.
It'd be kind of just. I would say it might even be used as like a coping mechanism. I'm sure you can kind of go over this, like the idea of if I help other people, I'll feel helped. If I fulfill other people, I will feel fulfilled. And I don't know how
Okay.
well that actually works.
And I
Oh.
think what you're saying is if I fill up that person's emotional bank account with 5 gallons of whatever, will I get 2 gallons filled in my own because of doing that? And it's possible. I think the other part is there are a lot of people out there in the service community who can't, quit being in that service position because they depend on the income or they have other needs being met, and they struggle to stay in it, and they just keep managing.
Interesting.
All right. And then you had one more thing, right?
Yeah. So this is something that I don't kind of personally entirely agree with, but my mom always said, anything worth doing, it's worth doing badly. And she just has that like labeled written down.
I guess that makes sense, but at the same time, I would like to ask her about that a little bit more
Yeah.
too.
So anything worth doing is worth doing badly.
I'm guessing like first time you do it,
so
gonna
it's
be
okay.
done-
So
it's
it's
based
more
on-
like
it's based on
you're willing to
improvement.
take a risk
Yeah.
in order to even just try it, take a step
Yeah.
forward. It's like content creators. They don't know whether they want to start or not because they don't know if they're good enough. But might as well do it. It's like starting a YouTube channel. Might as well put out the first episode, no matter how badly it is. But I don't think that
That's what happened
pertains.
to us.
Yeah, really, yeah, really, seriously.
we have to go back and redo that one.
Yeah. We do have to go back and redo that
Oh,
episode. I would
that's
love to
great.
redo that episode.
That's great.
But I don't know if that's the case for the emotional bank, because you have to be very genuine
Yeah.
to help someone feel that emotional bank, and you have to build that rapport, and rapport is built on genuinity. Genuinity? Is that a word?
Genuineness.
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 There it
That's
is.
a better word.
Genuineness. But I think in that case, so
That is a good saying, though, Trace.
It is-
Uh,
it's a
that
great-
is
that's a great saying.
that is. I mean, I know, like you said, it's not something you necessarily agree with, but if you really think about it, it does kind of make sense in the
yeah.
grand scheme of
Grand scheme of
things.
things.
Yeah. But back to the emotional. Go
right,
ahead.
back to the emotional bank. I mean, it's crazy to think that you yourself has to rely on yourself to fill someone else's bank. I know it was a total play on words there, but I mean, really think about it, because you have to fill your bank first in order to fill someone else's bank. In order to fill that person's bank, your bank has to be filled first. So it's this thing where it's like, even as an educator, you want to help someone. Like, you love doing what you do and you have to help someone, but you are depleted, right? So now it goes back to this. When someone is at home, should they force themselves to find something that they enjoy to fill that emotional bank? Should they force them? Should they get out of bed and say, okay, I need to change something to fix this? Or should they just keep the cycle because it's the status quo now?
I think force
Right?
is the wrong word, but
Well, you have to. Okay, it's like going to gym. I don't want to go to the gym in the morning because I'm tired, but I have to force myself to go.
yeah, I mean, still, you are forcing yourself, but are you really like? I'm resisting, you know, like
Yes.
holding on to the door
Yes,
while
because I
exiting.
don't want to go to the gym.
Okay, that's not healthy. Then. That's not healthy then.
Tracy, you have something real quick?
Yeah. So I think there is actually a difference between the kind of trying to make yourself fulfill your own emotional bank and then going to the gym, and that the emotional bank idea can be seen as more selfless, right? If I can fill it, then I can help other people, sort of deal. If I go to the gym, I won't help other people immediately, right? It's not a guaranteed thing.
Well, that's the same thing with emotional bank. You're not going to help someone immediately because
Yeah.
you're still depleted so much.
I mean, more in the case of
I think you're talking more from the case of like an educator,
yes.
right? Someone that's their goal is to help others, right? So in that sense, I can see what you mean by that, but in a sense of, you know, what he's talking about, right? Going to the gym, he doesn't want to do it, right? And it's not a thought, well, I can help others because of that. He just doesn't want to go to the gym.
Because out of how many times after you're done with work do you want to do something else?
That's a good question.
Like
couldn't
none,
answer.
like because you're so
Yeah.
tired because you're trying to help other. This is like an educator standpoint. I mean, it's probably based on a lot of other workplaces, but based on an educator, because you're trying to help someone, you're home and you're so tired. Is it what? I don't know where I'm going with this now. But what can you do to sort of help yourself? Because I know, I mean, maybe change a schedule, maybe something, because in order to fill that emotional bank, you need people, but
So let's go back to that question.
right?
Or should they be, I want to use what John said, should they be forced to find something in their own life to help them fill that emotional bank? So
Are you
I think that
asking
would,
me?
yeah,
Yes, we're asking you
yeah.
now.
That's the conundrum. So here's the thing that I like about life is if you can go ahead and do one thing that satisfies 3 different needs. Do you know how efficient that is?
Very.
Do you know how efficient
Very.
that is? That if you use that 5 minutes, and I'm just using a small incremental amount of time, and you take that 5 minutes, and in that 5 minutes, you do one task that satisfies 3 needs. Do you know how amazing that is and efficient that is?
Very,
Do you know
efficient.
one of the goals of my life has always been to pursue finding those kind of activities. And it's important. Okay, so we talk about the emotional bank account. How do you fulfill your own? Well, fill in someone else's, or how do you make that more efficient? And it's very simple. The answer is very easy, and that's in next episode. So stay tuned.
Wow, that would be a serious cliffhanger. Oh my goodness, I was like, wait, really? Wait, what did I miss?
He's gonna be here next episode. What I'm hearing.
Well, the sad part is it's just like the Wizard of Oz, the movie. You know, they go along the yellow brick path looking for the wizard. They pull back the curtain, and it's just this guy moving dials. That's 99.99% of life.
Yeah.
We really think the answers are so complicated, and they're not. We think that things need to happen so magically to make things, you know, work or be positive or exciting or happy. When the reality of it is the answer is very simple. So relationship development intervention states that if you want to go ahead and put emotional bank account deposits in multiple bank accounts at once, you do something called a shared emotional experience. A shared emotional experience is pretty simple. Like you're in a group of people doing yoga and everybody's enjoying it at the same time. Or you're doing karate class and everybody's just excited and pumped up and everyone's benefiting all at the same time. Or you're a child and a parent goes out and does something together and they're sharing in the experience and they're both reaching an emotional pinnacle where they're really happy.
So the key word there was both enjoyment.
Both. So
Enjoy.
Yeah.
So
And that's not always easy.
it's not always
Yeah.
easy, but
But
maybe
they exist. There's a lot of those things.
as a school teacher, maybe you know how teachers join in on a kickball game
Yeah.
or something. It could
Or
be very simple as
they
that.
do an educational activity in
Yeah.
the classroom and the teacher participates along with the kids. Now they're learning. There's one benefit too.
time to play
The
Kahoot with all the
The
kids.
kids are benefiting because they see the human side of the educator and the leader, and that the leader practices what he or she preaches. The kids are the instructor or teachers benefit because he's feeling or she's feeling great and is depositing in their own emotional bank account because of the endorphins or the serotonin that's being released in the body. That's what I mean by wow. Talk about making efficient use of time.
That is perfect. I think because I guess we do that too. Without I didn't realize that we did that.
Yep.
Like
Well,
doing all of that
when
together.
I guess when I tell Team Storm to go get in there, it's
Yes.
usually a good thing.
Very good.
It's a very,
Very good thing.
So I'll continue to do that.
Well, because I mean, as we instruct, we're doing things with them,
Yeah.
and then we have fun too. Of course, I can't do everything with them because he needs help to
Yeah.
do stuff too. So,
Yeah.
but okay, that makes so much because I did that subconsciously. I didn't really think about that when I taught. That makes so much more. Like I always knew about the efficiency part. Like okay, yeah, that makes sense. I still know that. But then when we
We're
start,
practicing stuff
yeah,
too.
exactly. Then we start adding things. I'm just like, oh my gosh, that makes so much more
But
sense.
do you realize how many parents don't do those kinds of things with their kids? And it's a lost opportunity. I mean, sharing in some kind of emotional experience doesn't have to be so complicated, but especially for younger kids, just simply playing video games together.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
mean-
it's just spending time with your family members is great. You
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
especially for
Yeah,
filming
your
that.
family
Yeah.
does a lot of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we do, especially now where everybody's
But it
stuck
doesn't
at
have
home.
to be it doesn't have to just be family members.
Yeah.
It can be, peers, your friends.
Mhm.
Stuff you do together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Wow, that is awesome. I didn't think of it that way. That was perfect.
I think we're right at
Yeah,
the
that
end,
was perfect
but
way to end
we,
it.
We
That was
can't,
awesome.
we can't continue off of that.
No, we can't. That was
That's-
amazing. That was amazing. So, anyways, thank you so much for joining us today. Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram. We're posting clips on there more often.
Yes.
Trying to, anyways. I'm trying my best.
I'm getting more clips.
Yeah.
out of
Okay.
it.
Please. And please comment below what you guys love, what you guys want to hear next on the YouTube channel, or tweet us, DM us on Instagram, whatever it is. Because we're having a great time doing this. This is awesome. Hopefully
Yeah.
we can get karate parents on here next.
Yeah.
That's what I really hope so. But thank you so much for listening. See you guys in the next one.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me on, guys.
You are welcome.
Bye.
Bye.